Wet start to September with heavy rains moving through southern Nevada. The floodwater has subsided, but the rainfall from last weekend's storms left behind a nightmare for many residents in the southeast part of our valley. Good evening. I'm Dana Wagner. Marie and Jim have the night off, so the rains are over, but the headache's just beginning for people who live in this part of town. Some people lost everything, their homes, cars, and more. And our Kate Amont joins us here in the studio, and you had a chance to speak to some of the residents who say they don't have flood insurance.
Yeah, no flood insurance, and you can see just how bad things got for them. This is in a community near Boulder Highway and Stephanie. This happened to about nearly 10 homeowners in the area. They didn't expect the levels of water to reach that high because they aren't in a flood zone.
From the front yard to the back and in between, everything inside Xenia Palomares' family's home has been destroyed after flooding from last weekend's storm.
We start taking out the baseboards.
Her insurance won't cover any costs. They suggest she turn elsewhere for aid.
They say call FEMA, government, such and such. I did, and they said, well, I'm sorry, we can't do nothing about it because Las Vegas is not zoned for flooding.
The couple and their 7-year-old daughter are now homeless.
It's not okay. We don't have a place to stay. My daughter's in a truck. My daughter's in a truck right now. I had to ask for counseling at school.
At least 6 of their neighbors also left with damage and don't have flood insurance, including Ivan Chavez, who says the neighborhood needs more flood drains. He says he requested them back in 2013 following a storm.
It happened before, like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, pretty much like right now, but this covered only back the front yard. It was not like big deal.
Yeah.
But the city, they never do anything. They send the sweepers the next day, just pick it up and suck it up all the trash in there.
Right now, groups like Hold Fast Nevada are helping the families with resources like clothes and food, but are calling on others to step up within the community.
We need to find partners in the community that can help us. Let's clean this place up. Let's get some dumpsters in here. Let's get the debris and the garbage out of there. Let's get this house out, these houses cleared out so we can get them dried out.
Garris agrees more efforts should also be made to prevent flooding in the future.
Well, we can help them rebuild, but how do we make it last? And the only way we can make it last is correct the mistakes. If we need to open up this driveway or open up this street and get the proper sewage, or the proper passage of water, let's do that.
And if you're a nonprofit or have resources that could be helpful to these families, you could head over to our website, news3lv.com, where you'll find the contact information for David Garris with Hold Fast Nevada.
A Metro police officer back on the job 1 year after a bullet nearly ended her career. Xenia Palomares was just 24 years old when a traffic stop took a violent turn.
She's now fully recovered. Palomares picking up where she left off. And in tonight's Operation Crime and Justice report, our Denise Rosh has this exclusive interview with the officer named one of our nation's top cops.
The shooting happened a year ago this weekend, September 10th, 2022. Shot in the pelvis, Officer Palomares was bedridden for 2 months. But all that time, she kept her police radio near her bed, listening to calls, knowing she'd be back.
Every day I wake up, and I'm just honestly excited to go out and do the job.
Metro Officer Xenia Palomares describes the last 12 months as a whirlwind, coming back from an injury that left her temporarily sidelined from the career she loves. So, how are you feeling?
Now, good.
Shot in the line of duty.
Yeah, I got shot in the pelvis.
Tough to heal from something?
Oh yeah, I've heard that it's the most painful one yet. I mean, for myself, it was extremely painful. It did shatter it, and then it hit the top of my femur, so I do have some anchors in there holding it together.
It happened last September near Flamingo and University Center. Palomares had pulled over a vehicle for suspected DUI. The driver and 2 passengers got out when one of the men, 29-year-old Gabriel Charles, started running. Palomares' body-worn camera recorded what happened.
All right, to the front, to the front, to the front, to the front. Ooh, hey! 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 Don't! No!
Critically injured, Palomares managed to get off 4 shots of her own, killing Charles. Her partner quickly applying a tourniquet to save Palomares' life.
Where are you at?
I need a peg.
Okay, I got you. Right on leg, how far up? Okay.
My radio fell. My radio fell. Give me your radio.
I got you. Don't worry.
Hi. Hi.
Police later discovered the suspect's gun had jammed, a malfunction known as a stovepipe.
After the incident, I thought about it a lot. I kind of became obsessed with like watching the videos, talking about it. Not talking about it to people that I didn't know, but like to my boyfriend, my family, my therapist, all of that. So I did think about it a lot. Now that it's been a year later, I don't think about it too often.
This was the scene as Tamburo was released from UMC 3 days after being shot. Lines of Metro officers there to greet her.
Honestly, it was amazing. Not coming from a law enforcement family, I didn't know how big of a family the department truly is. And just having that, I was more than grateful.
And in May, she was recognized as one of the country's top cops during a ceremony in Washington, D.C.
But now it is back to the job. And according to police, this area where the shooting happened is a known hot spot for violent crime. At her own request, Tamburo is going to be patrolling these same streets once again. Being away so long, however, she did have to go through a modified field training. And for the last 2 weeks, she's been on her own.
The first day I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit scary. I had to regain my confidence back. But after that first car stop, the first call, I had my training officer next to me and he was really cool with me. He's like, you take it how you want to take it. There's no rush. Take a deep breath and we'll just go with it, whatever you're comfortable with.
As for that night, it was Tamburo who grabbed the radio and called in her own location.
I'm going to be off of University Center in Flamingo.
Relying on the muscle memory that comes with training and understanding there is no such thing as a routine car stop.
Because you honestly don't know what's going to happen. You say license, registration, insurance, but who knows what they're going to do? Who knows what's in the car, who's in the car.
Tamburo was born and raised in Las Vegas, a 2016 graduate of Faith Lutheran High School. She says her mom would have been happy if she returned to a desk job, but that was not for her.
A local school was left in scramble mode after numerous teachers failed to show up for work. And this time it was happening at Monaco Middle School. That's located near Lake Mead and Nellis.
So they were able to keep the school open, barely. Our Crisis in the Classroom investigative reporter Tiffany Lane joins us live outside Monaco with the story. Hey, Tiff.
Hello, good evening. So we know today it was Monaco that had lots of teacher absences. Yesterday, Gibson and Henderson actually shut down because of the number of absences. Friday, it was SECTA that had to work around the number of absences. So we're seeing this every school day over the last few days. I want to actually read a message I just received from the district just a few minutes ago. They said in the past week, over 20 licensed employees called out overnight at 3 CCSD campuses. The absences at the specific locations were 10 times higher than projections, impacting only licensed educators and not reflecting district-wide trends. Now, of course, these absences are worrying families across the district who don't know why this is happening, and they're just worried about what this could mean for their children. Now, in a message to Monaco families this morning, the principal said the school was able to cover many of the impacted classes, but to make sure students are safe and being supervised, some classes were actually moved to larger areas of the school. The message also said that a majority of the teachers were on campus today. Now, as we mentioned yesterday, Gibson Elementary closed because of absences. Many were saying they believe it had to do with contentious negotiations over teacher contracts between CCSD and the teachers union. In a phone interview with the teachers union yesterday, their executive director told me they had no part in the absences at Gibson and do not encourage sick outs. Today at an event, I asked CCSD Superintendent Dr. Jara about absences and concerns some have about whether it has to do with ongoing negotiations.
Obviously, we'll work with individual school principals to address some of those. We're monitoring absences. You know, I would hope that our educators are not going to take it out on our kids. I don't think they are. I've been in schools today all morning, and I've seen our hardworking teachers showing up for work every single day. I hope that that's not the case, and that's not something that CCA is using our kids to negotiate a contract. We negotiate at the bargaining table, and that's where I stay focused on.
Now, Now today I also did ask Superintendent Jara about how substitutes play a role when these absences happen. The district just messaged me saying that, the earlier notice they have, the more likely that they are able to get substitutes in there. But we'll have more on that online, news3lv.com.
Subscribe to News 3 on YouTube at News 3 Las Vegas.